Hey YouTube, this is Prometheus, guys, giving you more than the meta. So guys, I want to talk about the 34 odd defense and basically how I run it. I know it's a meta defense, and one of the reasons why is that it gets very effective blitz pressure. It's confusing to the offensive line, but there's certain ways to run this coverage that works very well, and there are weaknesses of this particular defense too. So I want to show you some of the things that I do that are a little bit unique to what people are using in the field. So I just wanted to kind of give you an idea on that. Now, first and foremost, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to the following subscribers. They recently were making comments on my gameplay. I've got an ebook for the Eagles. It basically was built off of the shotgun wing scheme, and I got a couple comments from Taylor Baker, best channel for schemes, 100%. It's my first time taking Madden a little bit more seriously. This is from Master Jimmy, and I just came across your channel. Love this video, so new sub, please keep it up. And then this scheme is in the gun spread playbook. It can be unstoppable. So I want to shout out to you guys. If you're not familiar with my channel, you want to just give you guys a heads up. I do have a full breakdown in my Patreon that you guys can access for $5 if you want to, and this is all non-meta schemes out of the Eagles playbook. I know there's some really popular playbooks or plays and schemes and formations that you might see on other YouTube channels, in particular the Gun Bunch. I don't do that. I do stuff that's non-meta. So this actually expands your playbook. If you like to use the Eagles online, I would recommend going ahead and taking a look at this. I don't show you the meta. I show you the non-meta stuff and how I read things. So it breaks down running plays and all different types of ways I set my defense, my plays up, in particular against certain coverages and stuff like that, my audible setup, and how I use this. And you can actually go ahead and take a look at some of my gameplay. You can see me using it online when I'm using the Eagles. So let's just go ahead and get back to this particular breakdown, which is going to be basically a 34 defense. And basically in the first couple of plays, I'm actually just going to use a lot of heavy pressure against my opponent when I'm actually using this gameplay. For the most part, because I want to go ahead and see how my opponent reacts to pressure. So really simple to set this up. Just blitz all tight or linebackers, and essentially go ahead and pinch your linebacking core to get pressure inside. Now I ran into a runner. This guy ran the ball extensively, and he was actually having a pretty good effective run scheme against me in his gameplay, but I did catch him off guard. Here's a kind of a fluky play in this type of situation. He runs the ball. I think I contain him. I've got a gap down there out there. He actually tries to flick it back to Justin Fields, and I end up getting a touchdown against him because he doesn't pick it up. So, this is a pretty good defense of running used against a run. When you run into people that are just not used to it, it's easy to set up. I like the cover 4 version of it because essentially the cover 4 it makes my reads and progressions a little bit easier, because with cover 4 there's matching principles where these guys are going to match, and my responsibility is to match up on the 3, which would be the running back. These guys should match right here. I'm sending 7, so he's going to have to block several people, and he does not. He actually goes in play action. And what's cool about the odd defense is if you have a guy that runs play action, they're going to get toast. They're not going to have any time to get anything off. It's just not going to be very effective. So play action, basically this defense will beat play action completely if you got an opponent that likes to run play action. So let's go ahead and see. Once again, we've got pressure. My responsibility is to make sure I match to number 3. These guys are going to get matched right here, unless this route gets really flat. So I still have to match up with these guys. These guys will match right here in this type of situation. And because he's sending all of his wide receivers out, he's not making a progression quick enough, and he doesn't have a good quarterback to be able to get the ball off. So anybody that used to run with the Packers probably hates life right now, because they're not going to get bailed out by Aaron Rodgers throwing away the ball or getting a fast release. So he actually quits out. I guess he realizes this is not the same old Packers, and he actually goes and quits out in that type of situation. So here's another gameplay. Now, I think these two opponents actually made really good adjustments against this. I think this is where I changed up the base coverage that I was coming out. Okay, so this is cover 4 once again. I think the third gameplay, you're going to see me coming into a different type of a coverage. So right here, I went ahead and blitzed the house. These guys are matching up. My responsibility is to match up on a 3 because these guys should be getting matched up by the running backs and stuff like that. But I don't think he's going to have See, I'm over here with the anticipation that I'm gonna have to take this guy over off the left, and I put a soft squat out here. So if there's any kind of a quick route or quick out route or something like that, I'm gonna be able to pick that off. So set this up. Pressure comes off the edge. He doesn't know what to do with it. He doesn't have enough time to get rid of the ball, and I think because I was in this passing lane, he didn't know what to do with it. So he had a crossing route that I think he was probably looking at, and I double teamed it, and it just messed him up. He didn't know what to do with it. So 3rd and 23 situation, back at it again, and I think this opponent, I think he might use a screenplay against me. That was one thing I noticed. That's the only thing that sucks about using this cover 4 version of this blitz, is that it's not going to take care of a screen. I'm using this guy because I want to match up with this number 3 with the anticipation these guys are going to come down. But I think he jumps into a screen, and it makes this more of a manageable 4th down situation. So it was a really good play. My guy does not get down into the hole real quick. He gets rid of the ball perfectly, and he gets really good blocking right there. So yeah, he picked up 8 yards in that type of situation, but hey, it is what it is. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and drop down. I think I go with the pressure with the cover 4 shell over the top. Actually, no, this is where I jump into the cover 2. And I didn't even set this up correctly. So I think I had the play flipped because there's a vert hook over here. So this guy, I should have been jumping onto this guy and put him in a deep 3rd. And this should be a vert hook that's going to come over and follow this guy. And I've got a hard flat out here. Let me see if I go and adjust that correctly. All right, so I've got my soft squat. So he technically should follow, and then I've got basically a safety over the top. But the problem with this defense is I don't have it set up correctly. I've got this mid-read that's blowing up the matching principles. So these guys don't, I think, play match correctly. And they're going to basically kind of sit and let defenders pass by in this type of situation. And let's see here. See, he doesn't match. He comes down. This guy kind of covers this up. He's sitting right here. I'm over the top. He actually comes down to the flat. He should, basically, his responsibility is to carry with the vertical, and that flat should be open. But he doesn't. He comes down to the flat. So these guys are all just playing kind of like the sticks and playing underneath. And I've got basically 2 safety helps, and I'm actually covering the crosser. He throws up, and my defensive back, my safety, actually takes off that ball right there. So that's the only advantage of playing cover 2, that he froze a little bit. I was able to go ahead and get an interception because that safety actually fell into that coverage and basically played it. So single back wing slot, this is going to be the weakness of this defense. I think this is a guy that actually goes ahead and exposes the defense. So once again, I've got basically 2 quarters, a half, and I've got a squat. This is a cover 6 version of it. I'm still sending the house. My responsibility is to essentially kind of play this box right here with the hope the pressure comes in. And I think he actually hits smooth. Okay, so the pressure comes in right there, and the matching principles work. He just doesn't have enough time because he's play action. So what's cool about this defense is the odd defense. If you can run into someone who runs play action, just jump into odd and just blitz the hell out of them. Get them in 3rd and 1 type of situations, because they're going to have to get out of those play action plays. They're not going to work for him if he gets tied into play action animation. So back at it again, 2nd and 16. Go ahead, clear up the box right here. So let's see what the coverage shell I'm running here. I think it might be cover 4. Okay, so cover 4. So he should match. He should match. My responsibility is a 3. I should go ahead and chase after that. This guy should match. This guy should match. Now, any kind of routes on the inside are going to essentially get free. Another thing that you can look for is a quick out, or another thing that is really deadly against this defense essentially is an Ohio concept. This is a very simple concept. You're going to clear the other top zone and then hit the underneath with that route. So those are concepts you can use. Switch concepts kind of mess up this coverage too. So you can look for switch, especially or any kind of like a flat streak, or anything that's going to expose the flat against the cover 4. So right here you can see he does an Ohio concept, attacks it perfectly. So that was a really good decision by him to jump into that defense against me. Now that means I have to go ahead and change up the defensive shell against him and try to catch him off guard. So that's where a cover 6 would mess someone up like that. So I didn't like what he was doing. He affected me on that, so I jumped out of the defense completely altogether. So back at it again. He's in a closer set. I go ahead and use a cloud flat out here. I've got basically a 2-high shell, and I got matching concepts right here. My guy actually wandered out, so I'm going to bring him back into the box, but I've got 3 wide receivers, and my responsibility with the user is to try to take away the 3rd wide receiver with the hope that the pressure is going to get in. So I'm down in the box. He tries running. This is done. This run is done. But somehow he gets some magical pinball action and actually picks up 8 yards. But that should have been a shutdown run. Now I can't, these plays happen in Madden, so it's not a huge deal. You have to expect that type of stuff, but you got to. That's one of the reasons why this defense is so good, is that it typically will shut down the run because you have so many people hitting gaps that the offensive line and the blocking is just overwhelmed. Especially if you do any kind of a spread offense, your run game is over with, and now you have to deal with the blitz. So he goes a 3 wide receiver set, normal, off, Y close. Once again, for some particular reason, I'm getting pulled out. So I'm going to pull my guy back in. I'm going with cover 6 with a cloud flat out here over the top coverage. And then I've got match. My responsibility is to do this. There is a threat of the tight end over the middle of the field, but I think that he's been really attacking me with the running back with the scheme. So you can see how I'm running with the running back. He does a flat slant concept, which I think is dragon, if I believe, and that was perfect read. I had a cloud flat out there, so he's carving this up. He's carving this up because I'm going with pressure, and he no huddles. So what I do is I decide to switch it up and drop into cover 4. So that's cover 4. Basically, you got this guy out here, got this guy right here. You got this guy right here. You got this guy right here, and then I've got my dudes up into the end zone, looking for plays. So that's what's cool about this, is that the defense, if you blend coverage in against your opponent, they're going to have a hard time making reads. Now the running back was open, but everything else is just locked up. These guys are not going anywhere, and because I've got good block edge rushers, they're going to come in eventually. They're going to beat their one-on-ones. He actually throws into a crowd. Shouldn't have been swatted. Should have been intercepted. So really, really good thing to do against your opponent is to blend in that coverage against them. So let's see here. He goes into gun split. I'm scrolling for plays. Let me see if I go into Tampa 2. All right, so I'm in Tampa 2. I've got this set up correctly. I've got basically a soft squat right here. This guy should go vertical. This guy should go vertical. Got a hook zone that should follow this guy vertical. I've got a hook zone that should follow this guy vertical. I play the middle of the field, and this is going to be my number 3. That's going to be kind of like the additional threat that I have. And let's see here. He goes into screen. This is the second time he used a screen against me. It's a good play. So what do you do? You'll see, I think I make an adjustment where I actually go ahead and cover up the screen on the next time I run cover 2 against him. So let's see here. I actually switched out of the defense in that type of situation. I got out of the defense. I just didn't like what he was doing. He ended up, scoring at me eventually, but it was just something I switched out of. So sometimes you have to get out of this. Screenplays, a flat Ohio concept, flat concepts, slant concepts. Those are concepts you have to figure into your defense and be on a lookout, because those are going to be the concepts that people use. Now, this is the guy that actually basically forced me to ditch this defense altogether, because he was doing certain things. Now, I didn't even get this defense set up. I actually got a soft squat out here. I got a cloud flat out here, and I've got a hook zone right here, meaning this entire area is wide open because I didn't set it up correctly. I actually inadvertently clicked on this guy and put this guy, what he should be, in a soft squat over here, but I inadvertently clicked on the wrong guy. But you can see I have my deep zone set up. And what happens is that this guy's wide open, but he's looking for all the stuff underneath and does not see my defender, throws it right to me. So I pick sixed him using the cover 2 shell. And this is a really good shell to use in the very beginning just to see if your opponent can play against it, knows how to play against it. Your responsibility is to play over the deep guy, but it's something to blend into your scheme, just to make it a little bit easier for you. So let's go ahead. We're going to see if we're going to come back to this again. So I think what I had is I went into the cover 2 again, and this time I set it up correctly. So I've got my soft squat out here. I got my other soft squat, vertical hook, and let's see what he does with this. So he blocks 6 to try to protect. My responsibility is to carry over, and then I'm going to go ahead and take the middle of the field. My responsibility is to take the middle of the field. Now, I don't have I've got like an 85 speed linebacker, and I'm actually crossing this correctly, but he actually overthrows the ball. But you can see he had to get past my guy. I don't get an interception in that type of situation, but this is where he starts jumping into wheel concepts and switch concepts that kind of blow up this defense. So let's take a look at it. He goes into the gun split slot. This is I think I just jumped into just the cover 4. I want to go some really heavy pressure against him because we're running some coverage already. I want to go ahead and hit him with some heavy pressure. And what I didn't do is I didn't pass commit. And watch what happens with this guy right here because I didn't pass commit. He doesn't go after the... He's got a free shot at the quarterback. This should be a sack. But he chases the running back. He slides off because it didn't pass commit. And as a result, I go from a sack for yardage to basically a situation where he actually picks up a first down with a little wheel route. So that's one of the things you got to do. If you're sending the house, you got to pass commit. You got to pass commit to make sure those guys are coming down. It's not like you're going to get destroyed in the run. You're sending 7 people after the computer or after the quarterback. Right here, I think right here I jump back in the cover 2. So I want to go ahead and just show my opponent cover 2. So I've got a soft squat out here, soft squat, my hook zone. This guy I have to do something with him. I think what I have to do is I'm going to have to match him up on the 2 and take this guy and match him up on the 3, just to go ahead and just keep people guessing a little bit on their coverages. So you can see right here he's got basically a double slant concept. I've got safeties over the top. Got this guy. I think this guy kind of wheels out, and then I've got this guy going up. Right here, flat concept. This guy dumbs down and comes down to the flat, or does he get rid of the ball? All right, so he's actually giving up the sideline right here. Ball's out, the defender actually plays it, and he gets a nice little spin move right there to pick up some yards. It should have been maybe about a 5-yard gainer, but that actually was not that bad of a concept, and he's running that play stock. So, I'm running a lot of people that right now that play stock plays, and I think it's about like quick hockey more than anything else. So now I go into a man blitz, man version of it. Once again, I'm switching things up. I'm not giving my opponent the same look every single time. Man blitzing. Got the pressure coming off the edge. I have to take on the number 3. He's got basically these guys matched up, this guy's matched up, this guy's matched up. But he hits the wheel. And because of the rub, I can't get out there in time to take away the 3-yard route. Right there, a little spin move to get a first down. So good play by him. Really good adjustment by him with that particular that adjustment. So scat play, you could see this guy's this wheel route, it just destroys it. So those are things you have to factor in when you're playing man coverages. So wheel routes they're gonna dumb out the defenders, especially if they're playing at a very high depth. And I always play off coverage because I don't want my opponent to know exactly what type of coverage I'm playing on the back side of it. So back at it again. Do I go with what coverage? Okay, so I go with my Tampa 2 shell. Once again, Tampa 2. And then I manned up this running back to take away any kind of screen opportunity and stuff like that. I've got a hook zone here, and my responsibility is going to be taking away this tight end because this side should be locked up. So if he tries to wheel his dude out, I've got a defender out there. So take a look at what's going on the other side. He's got a switch concept that pulls this defender in. this guy comes off to the sideline. And I think it's because of the spacing. So with cover 2, the spacing just gets kind of blown up. He hits this guy right here. My defender's not in the lane right there. He actually goes ahead and gets a big completion. A couple good juke moves right there. Gets the ball down to inside the territory. So that cover 2 didn't work well against this drag wheel. I had everything on the backside locked up, but I didn't have everything locked up over here. And that was just a good adjustment by him. But those are things you have to understand when you're playing this defense. What are the weaknesses? And when you see someone expose those weaknesses, how do you adjust to it? So back at it again right here. I'm going to go with cover 6. So we've got zone, flat zone, and two quarters. I'm going to blitz the house. And then in this type of situation, I've noticed, sometimes what it is smart to do is just take the edge blitzer. If you're concerned about a wheel or something like that, where some guy's actually going to come out. This guy hit me with a wheel. Pressure gets picked up. He blocks 6. It all gets picked up. And I think right here I'm actually going ahead and running with this guy. I've got the quarterback on his ass, but my safety bites in and does not come down and play this correctly. So I'm actually chasing this guy down with my defender. I'm out of position, and the safety doesn't play it correctly. So he actually gets a nice little completion right there with the switch concept, which blows up that cover 2 shell. So if you got a squat, you've got a deep high safety, it just doesn't necessarily work all the time. So those are just things you have to take consideration when you're running cover 2. If you got a guy that beats it, then you're gonna have to make adjustments. You might want to consider doing man coverages and stuff like that. So just wanted to show you guys when things don't work great for me. So once again, thank you for your support, guys. If you do like this type of tips, go ahead and subscribe button. And also, if you could, down in the comments, if you just watch the video through the entire thing, write down FTA for the algorithm, because I like when to get some of this stuff exposed to other people. So thank you for your support, guys. Until next time.